Hi everyone, this is a tutorial I've been asked to do about making my travel note insert covers. Now I've been having a play around and I'm not 100% sure how you print your covers off. So depending on how you print them off will depend on which one you go for. So I print mine off. So I make a regular size one, which is 8¼ long by 4¼ so when it's folded it's 4¼ so it's that way. But when I print them off I have it's my program centers my image, so I have an overhang which I cut off. Or if you're going to put rivets on like I do, I leave one side on. If on the other hand you have a program which just shoves it all over to the wrong side and it becomes, you can't do it with an overhang. So you just trim it down to size. So it is, what have we got, 8¼ and then each side is 4¼ so in total you've got 8½ wide. Now I put rivets in mine, which is what I've been asked to do. So if I show you one, which I'm nearly finishing, I put rivets in because I have an elasticated closure. Rather than having a ribbon, for my own personal use, I found this to be a really easy way of doing things rather than having to undo ribbons all the time. It really is personal choice, but this tutorial is all about putting the rivets on and how to stop them being baggy, because you've only got one, in effect, one thickness of paper, and I always find my rivets go loose. So if I show you on this one, which is just a cut down piece of paper, right, I have made mistakes in the past, oh yes, I've put holes in the front, I've put holes on the wrong side, it's gone all over the place. So this, like I say, this tutorial is for the rivets, so this is what I'm going to be concentrating on. Back cover, otherwise you end up, it doesn't look good. So this is where this Tim Holtz ruler comes into its own. I measure up 3/8 of an inch by 1/2 inch across and put a mark, and that will be the centre of these little rivets. And the same on this one. So 3/8, it's easier to do it that way. 3/8 by 1/2 inch in. Like I say, this is my own personal take on it. You know, you'll have a play and you will find, you know, the one to your suiting. Now I found the easiest way is to actually add another thickness of paper on the back. So I'm using just a cut off. I always print both sides of my covers. So I've got my images that side and then whatever tones in with your covers on the other side. Like I say, for this one where it's going to show, so if we measure again this way, you can tell I've put a lot of planning into this, can't you? I will put these measurements underneath. So 1/2 inch in, oops, just so I roughly know where I'm going to centre this piece. It just helps strengthen it, is what I found, and it stops, like I say, just gives the rivet a little extra to hang on to. Right, now that's going to be miles too big. I have no idea what size that is. Okay, that's about 7/8, and that's still probably, okay, that is 3/4 of an inch, and that I am going to glue over the top of where I've made the mark on the inside, just so it gives the rivet something to hang on to. So I always use art glitter glue. I just like the applicator tip. I know that other people, everybody has their favourite glues. It's like everybody has their favourite papers, favourite tools. That one, where's that one going in there? About 3/4 of an inch, roughly. It's just to help you hide it later, doing it this way. So, sort of centre it. Make sure it's nice and firm. Oops. Or you can tell it's early in the morning here, can't you? Right, these are 3/16 rivets, and I use a crocodile to make holes. Now I've actually got the hang of this thing. A good tip I was told, or that I saw on YouTube, the hole to punch. Which one does your rivet fit into? 2 holes. Right, it won't fit in the smaller one. It'll fit in the big one. So the big one is the one to go for. Right. Now if you find your marks on this side, centre it up, punch it out. Anybody knows a way of getting rid of the bits, please let me know. And again. There we go. Right, rivets. I hope all this is on camera and you can actually see what I'm doing. I have my camera on a shelf above me and it's very difficult sometimes to see what's on screen. Right, for these particular rivets, because I haven't used the genuine Memory Keepers ones. I've had to have a play around with my settings on my crocodile. And for me, this one is a 3 on the base and an A on the top. But you know, it took me ages to figure out that you had to pull it up to move it round and then push it back down. I know, they come with instructions. I'm not good with instructions. I always check I've got it sort of clipped on underneath before I commit myself to squidging it down. Right, that one's caught. And then same on the bottom. They are useful. They do tell you. And I always check, have I got it the right way up? And it's got a little sign. This way. The amount of times I've got it jammed from putting it in the wrong way. Yep, got it centred on the base. And press. Right, so we now have 2 rivets on the back. Let's move that. Elastic. This I use is 1mm elasticated cord. As a rule of thumb, it's about that long. So what have we got? About an inch. About an inch either side. If you're not sure, you want to make doubly sure. And from there, yeah, oh blimey, I'm even questioning myself now, because it will go up and around. Right, to glue it down, I use a little bit just to tack it in place. A little bit of double-sided tape. Now bear in mind you're going to have to cover the, or potentially you might not want to, cover it up. Don't go mad with the tape like I did and then find out that, oh hell. Now it can help to actually just splay the end a little bit, just phrase. Just so it can grab onto the tape. That's done it. Now you can use whatever glue you like, or I just find that this works quite quickly. I haven't got a lot of patience. Not with this anyway. Now leave that on for a moment until I decide how I'm going to cover that top on. And then it gets wrapped round and cut off. I don't do the final measuring until I've actually filled it, because by the time you've put pockets and flowers in it or tags, it's going to start gapping. See, that at the moment is a comfortable fit. Oops, fingers. That looks quite a comfortable fit, but then I've got all the tags and all the little bits, the cards that clip on envelopes, what have you, to go in there, and it's going to get quite bulky. So I leave that one till the very end. Now then, when you have finished it, so imagine, I would normally do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch on this. So straight up the middle, just 3 holes, quite simple, and it will secure it. Now the obvious way of hiding that, especially at the bottom, okay, and I'm ready to finish it off. Now the obvious one at the bottom is to put a pocket on it, which will cover that. So that's that one sorted. Now the top one. You could put a card on there, although it is going to be quite bulky. So sticking out the top, you could have it as a corner tuck. There are lots of different ways of doing it. That actually is quite a nice way. A layer of lace, so you'll still see some of it underneath, obviously, but that will finish it off. Or obviously not this piece, because it doesn't match at all. Well, unless you want something completely contrasting. And that's how I would normally finish it off, with a like a side pocket, and that covers everything. It doesn't give you any gaps. Jazz it up with a bit of lace, or even clip on a picture, and you've covered up most of your gubbins underneath. I will finish this off and I will come back and show you. Actually, I suppose I could always do the pamphlet stitch as well. Oh, you ladies know how to do that. Right, I'll see you in a moment. Right folks, I've been away. I have sorted out my pages. So just to recap, the cover is, well, it's a personal size travel note insert. So it measures, a regular size, sorry. So it measures, the pages measure 8¼ well, the whole cover measures 8¼ and the pages measure 4¼ inside. And the cover I've actually cut at 4 3/8, so I've got just an 1/8 of an inch overhang just to protect it a little bit. Right, punching holes. So I've got my papers where I want them inside. So I'm quickly just going to punch the holes. Ah, there we go. Now I've got a template of where I want the holes. Graph paper, mark the middle, and then 1/2 inch in from either end. So just line it up. This is the same as just doing a normal booklet, a normal journal, except I'm only putting 3 holes in instead of, I would normally put 5 in one of my normal journals. I'm just going through all the pages and the cover, so everything is all lined up. And that is a book cradle or piercing punch, I think I've seen them described as. Right, so I've gone through, I've still got them clamped together, so I've got a reasonably good idea where they're supposed to be. I'm using baker's twine, this stuff, very thick, so nice thick needle. If you have problems getting it through, I always use one of these embroidery hooks just to pull the thread through. And then, now I go in from the outside because I want to hang a charm on the inside. Now because it is so thick, if it doesn't want to come through, go pliers. There we go. So you need to leave enough on the outside. Let me just pull that back through a bit. So it will go up to that top one, plus you'll be able to tie your note. Tie a knot, sorry. I've used roughly 2.5 times the length of my pages, or the length of my cover to for the thread. So I've gone in the middle one, and because I one page at a time, there we go. On the other hand, you could just always use normal bookbinding twine. That would be so much easier, in my humble opinion. I get slated for saying, do it like this. I don't mean to tell you what to do. It's just sometimes. Oops. No, that is one of the hazards, going through the other thread. We've still got enough there. Yep. So just pulling that a bit tighter. Okay. Honestly, the last one I did went alright. One page at a time. through into the cover. So that will then give you this. Yay! This is a bit I always find that I get my fingers all twisted up. There we go. Now I'll leave that on for a moment because I need to thread a charm onto it in a minute. So there we have our booklet all sewn up. Now I have been in and I have stenciled, put my pockets in. I just need to put tags and envelopes in, and then I can finish off. That gives me a rough idea of the thickness of it. So I put all the tags in, or the majority of the tags. Oh, if you could see my desk. Can't find anything at the moment. That's nice. Just so I get a feel for the thickness of the actual book. Obviously I've still got to go in and decorate it yet. That gives me an idea. It's gapping a little too much. So loosen it off. You're always going to get pinch points top and bottom, I'm afraid. That's just the nature of the fastening. But that allows now for loads of stuff to go in there. So that's where we'll have it. Yes, I know it's just one and out. But I also know that it's got to be roughly that. If you can see, roughly that to that. That gives you loads of room. And then just catch it down. You can always check, you can always pull a bit back through. So there's some of my junk. Yep, that's fine. If you like it a bit tighter, then by all means pull it tighter. But if you're anything like me, you stick loads of things in these. I'm quite happy with that. Especially as I know I've got to go back in and decorate. A bit more lace inside perhaps. That bit off. Just cut those. Boring bits. Right, so that's the elastic on. I've decided to decorate with a picture, so a pocket down there. I like my corners rounded. I know. Press that a bit. Bit of big glue on ink. You can tell it's half term and my wonderful husband has taken the kids out for the day. Yay! So if I peel off, so I'm getting all excited is what I'm trying to say to you. Oh, me and double-sided tape aren't best. But peel that off. And line that up. Right, so that's one covered. Now for the top one, I was having a look round. I found one of these that I've got that I made years ago. The kids have been having a play with the cutting machine. What on earth is it called? Big Shot. That's it. So to keep them quiet and keep them occupied. So I thought I'm going to put that, because I've got die cuts in here already. So I thought, right. Oh, there we go. The other flower that I put in. So I've just added a few little micro beads and covered the whole thing in Wink of Stella, just to give it a real shimmer. And then that can sit on top. Sorry if my head's in the way. Can sit on top of that. And cover that. And it also adds a bit of extra stability to the elastic at the back. And that, once I finish decorating it, is how I assemble my travel note covers. Yes, I'll finish that off. A couple of beads, I think, on the end of that one. Right, there we go. I'm assuming if you know how to do it, you haven't watched it till the end, or if you have, you've just wanted to laugh, which is fine. I can go with that. Thanks very much for watching. I hope it has been of use to you, and I will speak to you all later. Bye.